Well, a more peaceful start to the day after thousands marched in cities across Canada on Wednesday, protesting sexual orientation and gender identity curriculums in schools. At many of the events, they were met by large counter-marches, some of which outnumbered the protesters. Some cities saw heated showdowns and confrontations. In some cities, police removed protesters and arrests were made. For more on how those counter-marches went, we are joined by community organizer Sarah Worthman. Sarah, welcome to your morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm curious, how are you this morning after watching the events unfold yesterday?
I have a bit of a mix of emotions. You see, while we were thrilled that folks showed up all over Canada, I think a lot of us organizers are shocked just at the number of far-right protesters that there were. Here in St. John's, we had about 100 that showed up. Although we outnumbered them 3-1, that was the most that we had ever seen, and it was quite jarring.
Sarah, that was my thought yesterday, was what was the reaction to the amount of people that showed up to protest right across the country? What does that tell you about sentiment?
I think it speaks a lot to the sentiment of very much the community at large for standing up to support us. I mean, it was 8:30 in the morning for a lot of us. I got up at like the crack of dawn, about 5:40, to get started. And we really, it was really a very much a show of support and love from everyone. And that was in the middle of like a Wednesday morning, right? Like this was not peak time protesting for anyone, and still people managed to show up in these amazing numbers. But I also think that it speaks to the danger of misinformation and the danger of political polarization, and the fact that so many people are able to live in these echo chambers and be encouraged by politicians to think that it's okay for them to come forward and share such kind of hatred and hateful displays.
Yeah, some of the language that was used yesterday at various protests in various cities was shocking to hear when we're talking about kids. In the past few years, there's been a rise in transphobia and homophobia. Nearly 96% of trans people in Ontario, just this province, reported experiencing everyday transphobia, and this is according to the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. Those numbers were from around 5 years ago. We know the trend continues upward. How concerning is it to see a nationwide series of demonstrations like this?
Definitely worrying, and I think it's encouraged by several premiers across Canada who have kind of embraced this language and encouraged it. It is also just, you talk about the statistics. I mean, 70% of Canadians support trans kids and support trans kids being included in schools and being able to be accepted. So this really goes against, it is really just a small percentage of people who actually are being so loud. And it's a very concerning trend to see people cater to that and cater to this very loud minority here. And I think that, it has really shown the danger of the internet, and it's shown the danger of complacency. For a long time in Canada, we thought that we were a bit immune to what was going on in the south of us with our neighbors in the US. But this yesterday shows that we are not, and that this hate is rising here too, and that we need policy action, and we need allies and everyone to come out and support us.
Sarah, I want to thank you for joining us in the morning after the demonstrations and protests across the country. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.